Everyone, welcome back to Poplar Preparedness. We got a whole bunch of information that's going to be delivered once again in meme form. A lot of information. We're going to be reading a bunch of information. Some of the best information on the web is actually on Wall Street Silver these days. They're preppers just like us, and they're getting ready for financial as well as food shortages. This is brought to you by Genesis Gold Group. It's been said that buying physical silver and gold is a way to opt out of this crazy monetary system that we're in. So if you still have money stuck in 401ks, IRAs that you want to get into vaulted physical silver, you might want to talk to our folks over at Genesis Gold Group. You can find them down in the description down below. All right, so on to the memes here. It's really from stacking silver that those muscles right there, that's from sharing memes all day, maybe. All right. It's only going to get worse from here. Keep stacking silver. Store up extra food. Tell me, good luck, everyone. And he says, tell me more about those crazy preppers when you're done trying to find food and water. Yeah, not going to seem all that crazy at that time, is it? If Biden asked OPEC not to cut oil before the primaries, then 100%, and if he asked OPEC to not cut oil before the primaries, then 100% he asked the Federal Reserve to pivot. I kind of think that that's absolutely true. I've been kind of wondering if they're going to pivot just because of the election as well. That's my thought on that. All right, so the IMF chief is saying that central bank digital currency should be used alongside the social credits system to control people, what they can and cannot buy. I mean, that does seem to be, that definitely seems to be something out there. Okay, this is kind of a funny one. Inflation's not that high. Well, inflation is high, isn't he? Yeah, I've been puffing a little bit, hasn't it? How it feels to be alive lately, just sitting there existing. Someone comes along, that'll be $70. Okay. It's funny, but it's really, really not funny, isn't it? All right, so here is the international community, folks. Look at it. Yep, the whole international community. If you're like, that's like 6 countries. Well, yeah, 15 countries, that's about it these days. Every time we start talking about the international community, how everyone's on board, that's who we're really talking about. Because when you talk about India, China, when you're talking about Brazil, when you're talking about South Africa, most of Africa, they're not on board with all this stuff that we're doing. All right, so when everyone is shorting Credit Suisse, do you think there might be a Lehman moment possibly coming? When all the bankers are like, gee, we think that might actually default. And then we see the U.S. Federal Reserve send $11 billion to Switzerland, who then distributes it to their banks. One of which, of course, is Credit Suisse. Yeah, crazy how that works, folks. Okay, so here's the choice. Do you want government guzzling all of the gold and you trying to grab a little of that gold along the way? Because that's where all the gold is. Governments hold most of the gold, and private parties hold just very, very little. Or silver, most of the silver is held in private hands. Private banks, private hands, corporations, that type of thing. But the governments around the world hold very, very little silver. So, whether you want to jump into silver or gold, that look you get when your bullion bank market manipulators inform you that 225,000 filthy apes are monkey wrenching their attempts to suppress silver. Janet Yellen. Yep. She's upset. Look at those eyes. They're angry eyes. She's angry. She's upset with all of us for calling their bluff. You're crazy to everyone who can't manipulate you. There is a word of truth, folks, that you need to be hearing. People who are upset with you hoarding food and all that kind of stuff. They just want to manipulate you. And if you won't let them, if you just keep on doing your thing, it just infuriates them. So 75% of registered silver on the COMEX is gone, but the spot is still under $20. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? It doesn't. That's what it does. It doesn't make sense. COMEX update. At this rate, the silver metal will be gone in months. That's right. And this is actually up on Seeking Alpha. So, now, granted, anyone can get up on Seeking Alpha, but it has to be approved. But this gets out to people. This gets out to a lot of regular folks who are just seeing that article and just being like, wait a minute, what do you mean? And you have to back these things up with numbers, right? The average 401k balance dropped to $103,000 in Q2, down 20% from a year ago when it was $129,000. For the average 401k balance dropped 20% since last year. That tells you that 66% of American workers are worse off financially than they were a year ago. That's devastating, folks. Average workers losing 20% of their retirement. Move that over there. Trying to move it out of the way, folks. What's in your wallet? This is really insightful. The work energy of 300 tons of rocks and soil excavated, hauled, crushed, and separated. This is for 1 ounce of silver, folks. 300 tons of rocks and soil excavated, hauled, crushed, separated. Then the basic materials containing silver needs to be chemically refined, and the energy acquired to acquire the chemicals is its own mind-boggling amount. So all the energy that goes in there, how they get that energy. Once the silver is chemically refined, it then needs to be refined by fire, then formed into a single troy ounce. I bring this up to emphasize just how much time and work goes into the process of producing a single ounce of silver, knowing that if I put it in this context, it becomes much more apparent just how unbelievably undervalued it is. How much is the markup on your burger at Wendy's or McDonald's or whatever? How many dollars markup is that? Then we start talking about professionals moving 300 tons of rocks and soil, crushing them, separating them, chemically refining the silver, and all that for 1 troy ounce. That ends up being about $18 or $19 nowadays. That is tremendously undervalued, ridiculously undervalued. Satan telling Jesus, we're all in this together. Of course, it's not in the Bible, but, nowadays it sounds like the lies that are being said. We're all in this together. And no, we're not. No, we're not. There's a sifting that's going to be coming up. People who have behaved foolishly are going to be sifted from those who behave wisely. Those who prepared versus those who did not prepare. Holiday prices, frozen turkeys up 36% since last year. Butter and eggs up 30% since last year. Potatoes, sugar, bakery products up 15 to 17% since last year. Prices are up, folks. Stock market is down. Prices are up for food. What are you doing about it? What are you doing about it other than, just being upset? A lot of people going to the store and being upset and doing nothing. Modern slaves are not in chains. They are in debt. A lot of people complain because that's all they can do. When you're dependent upon a system, you can't actually fight against the system. In September, the Central Bank of Uzbekistan added 8.7 tons of gold to its reserves for the third consecutive month. Net purchases this year alone amount to 28 tons. The total gold reserves to 390 tons. the highest level on record. And I promise you, Uzbekistan is not the only country doing this. Countries around the world are all stocking up on gold. They're pulling it out of the vaults in London. They're pulling it out of the vaults in the United States. How about we shut down the FBI for 2 weeks to slow the spread of tyranny? That's a sensible proposition. Maybe a little longer than 2 weeks. That, start with some 2 weeks, right? And then just see how it goes. 2 weeks, and we'll see how it goes. If tyranny keeps spreading, we'll just keep it shut for longer. That's right. It is in the interest of tyrants to reduce the people to ignorance and vice, for they cannot live in any country where virtue and knowledge prevail, says the maker of beer, Samuel Adams. Think about that. Think about that, folks. Don't think about how he makes beer, but, think about it. You are in India, a large buyer of silver already. Silver is going to be in the new BRICS basket. Wonder who's taking delivery of all of that silver. Folks, we talk about this emptying the COMEX. Look at what's happening with the London Metal Exchange right there on the left. And on the right, look at COMEX. You see that crash? That is the amount of silver that is available. When you're welcomed to the world, then told that your share of the national debt is $247,000. Yeah, I'd be ticked too. Yeah, just like, why'd you bring me into this world? What's up with that? $247,000 I have to earn just to pay back other people's debt? You should be infuriated too. That's how much you're on the hook for. All right, we can no longer call a 30-day ban Facebook jail, as it must be referred to as menopause. That's funny, guys. That's just funny. All right. When someone accuses you of wearing a tinfoil hat, remind them it's better than wearing a blindfold. Folks, I'd rather jump on a couple of extra worries than to blindly walk off a cliff. And that's really where we are. If you want to keep following the lemmings, you can keep following the lemmings, but the lemmings end up going over the cliff. And you need to think for yourself. And does that mean make mistakes? Yeah, it does. But I'd rather make my own mistakes, stumble over some rocks and here and there, than to go off the cliff blindly with everybody else. I don't want to wear a blindfold. I don't know about you. Think for yourself, folks. All right, folks, this has been another Wall Street Silver meme update and meme review. And keep your reports coming, what you're seeing on your store shelves out there. And I will see you guys later. Steve Poplar,